Okay, planned deception, staging of a New Age Messiah, chapter 7, of rainbows and unicorns. Quote, there is a desperate need at this time for disciples to make this first link of building the bridge to the soul and hierarchy, for it enables disciples to become channels for the transmission of energies so urgently needed by the Christ and his masters, for the coming externalization of the planetary hierarchy. From the Rainbow Bridge, Part 2, by Two Disciples. The unicorn here is once again a symbol of transformation, for this unicorn seeks a better world, or a return to a better world, through the purifying, purgative powers of destruction. Its purpose, like that of the Hindu god Shiva, is to tear down and to renew. Nancy Hathaway, The Unicorn, page 161. She starts. Symbols play a vital role to those involved in the New Age movement. Jim Channon speaks of them in his First Earth Battalion training materials. Alice Bailey makes repeated reference to them in her voluminous works. So did Helena Petrovna Blavatsky of the Theosophical Society, and Rosicrucians Max Heindel and Swinburne Clymer. Marilyn Ferguson, David Spangler, and other New Agers make frequent mention of symbol usage and its importance to the maintenance of the New Age movement. The symbols serve both as a form of universal language and as a device for helping to reinforce and an altered or trance-like state of consciousness. When one sees the familiar symbol, he usually can be certain he has found a kindred spirit. Since he was taught in his meditation classes to respond emotionally to certain symbols, when he again sees them, a conditioned response is reactivated. One former New Age described it this way, quote, Satan had his key in my lock, unquote. Former New Agers have told me that occasionally when they see these symbols, they still experience feelings associated with altered or trance-like states of consciousness. This chapter will discuss in detail the New Age significance of the two symbols which have evoked the most comment since I have begun my public work. They are the rainbow and the unicorn. This is 1985. The unicorn. Nancy Hathaway wrote a wildly distributed, comprehensive and lavishly illustrated book on unicorn symbolism. She says that the unicorn in the 20th century has emerged in an unexpected guise. She says that the unicorn began to appear as a symbol of strength. She quotes English author William Butler Yeats, who implied the unicorn represented forces of destruction in his 1908 play. Remember, William Butler Yeats was an occultist. I think he was in the Golden Dawn, I believe. And this is from the play. Holds up arms, Freemasonic. Then the vessel fell and was broken with a great crash. Then I saw the unicorns trampling it. They were breaking the world to pieces. When I saw the cracks coming, I shouted for joy, and I heard the command, destroy, destroy. Destruction is the life giver. Destroy. I am to destroy. Destruction was the word. The messenger spoke. Father John. To destroy? Martin. To bring again the old, disturbed, exalted life, the old splendour. Emphasis added. That's a quote finishes. Miss Hathaway, showing typical New Age approval, says, quote, the unicorn here is once again a symbol of transformation. Yeah. Transformation. For this unicorn seeks a better world, or a return to a better world, through the purifying purgative processes of powers of destruction. Its purpose, like that of the Hindu god Shiva, is to tear down and renew. Close quote. According to Miss Hathaway, the unicorn is also a regeneration symbol. This is expressive of the New Age ideas of rebirth and transformation by the acquisition of biblically condemned psychic or spiritual powers. Of this, she happily writes, quote, "This unicorn is a sacrificial one, analogous to the medieval animal that was drawn to the Virgin. It is concerned with death, destruction, and simultaneously creation. The creative powers of the artist and the destructive powers of death are cut from the same cloth as the powers of the unicorn. That is, they are transforming. This unicorn is spiritual, not in the fuzzy, kind-hearted way we think of today, but in the strong, direct way that characterizes true metamorphosis." Close quotes. Why would the unicorn be accepted? Question mark. Nancy Hathaway evidently thinks that the unicorn forebodes positive events for our future. Quote, "Not since the 15th century has the unicorn had such an enormous appeal. It is easy to see why. In a world suffering from pollution, the unicorn can purify water with a single dip of its horn. In a world where animals are becoming extinct, the unicorn can never die. In a world where we might literally blow ourselves up at any moment, the unicorn harkens back to another time and a better life. The unicorn symbolizes sensitivity coupled with strength, the lure of sexuality and nature linked with power. In a time when the future is looking bleak, the unicorn is a symbol not just of hope, but of strength. It tells us that the unattainable is worth striving for, worth searching for, worth believing in, even if it exists only in our minds." Close quotes. Quick aside, synchronicity. Just a few hours ago, I was watching very good video for the song "Bring On the Dancing Horses" by Echo and the Bunnymen, and it's like all this stuff's going on in it. Unicorn symbolism, like unicorn drinking milk, cows. Anyway, the story of the New Agers tells of their unicorn is also interesting to those viewing the world from a biblical perspective. Feller's Lightning? Question mark. Another book on the unicorn is a little different, entitled De Historia et Veritate Unicornis, on the history and truth of the unicorn. The book tells a strange story. By Michael Green, Running Press Book Publishers, Philadelphia, 1983. And I don't know if that's the Michael Green that I used to know, who used to be into crop circles, which is, this the first time I've read this chapter. I used to think that this is the same guy. I went round his house to a lecture, and he had shitloads of Alice Bailey books. Anyway, this is, dear oh dear, some synchronicity shit going on today. Sorry. He's dead now. The author says, "Having passed through the esoteric 60s, I am no stranger to arcane personages with mysterious errands." This is the same guy. I knew this guy. He claims he received a letter, handwritten in elegant italic script. The letter, signed Frater Iamblichus, asked Michael Green, the author, for a meeting. Sounds like some guy from the Golden Dawn or something. Thelemite. Green, because of his arcane 60s experiences, did agree to the strange rendezvous. Within a week it was held. At that time, Green met a thin, cowled figure. He complimented Green on his recent book, the newly published Unicorn Notebook. Then the visitor asked him if he would like to see the holy beast. Green said yes. The cowled visitor next showed and interpreted an ancient document for him. The cowled man called it the Codex Unicornis. A cowled man, this is a guy in a robe, like a dark robe maybe. Codex Unicornis, the history and truth of the unicorn. Michael Green then purportedly was told that this was the treasure of the venerable master Magnalorchius and the treasure of our Collegium Gnosticum, which he founded. Green then was told, probably accurately, that the members of this college, the Gnostics, had gathered across many countries but were united by Magnalicus's teachings, the heart of which is the secret doctrine of the unicorn. What is this secret doctrine? There are interesting scriptural parallels with it and the biblical account of Lucifer's or Satan's fall from heaven. The first unicorn. Wrapped in a cloud came he, by a bright whirlwind borne along. He descended gently, she's put questionable in quotes, from the heavens to the infant fields of earth, even before the fires of its forming were yet. Thus did the unicorn possess the brightness of the light, that he might drive all darkness and obscurity from him. He was called Asalam, of unicorns the firstborn, a creature fearfully wrought and wonderful to behold, bearing a horn of spiral light, that is the sign of Galgalim, the guide. I'm not sure where that quote's from. There's no quote. In Luke 10:18, Jesus said, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Old Testament references likewise describe this fall. Isaiah said, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Ezekiel vividly depicts Lucifer's pre-fall condition. Thou sealest up the sun, full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. Ezekiel 28:12-15, King James. You see, this is what I mean about the Bible being an occult document, and Christians basically an occultist, whether they see themselves as that or not. I mean, that's like, anyway. Biblical significance. She's continuing now. The imagery of the unicorn and the promised destruction it brings in its wake is interesting from two standpoints. Biblically, and for giving one insights into New Age mindsets, I have found the New Age movement and its underlying all-pervasive occultism to be a nearly mirror-perfect image of biblical history and prophecy. As such, it is a mass movement in which virtually everything the Bible foretells as a negative, the movement claims as a positive. See, this is what I'm really getting into it with this the New Agers and the Christianity and how they see each other. It's just like it's like how two different people can have exactly the same information but have completely opposing ideas and viewpoints on what it actually means, or that they can use it to back up completely opposite things. Anyway, sorry, where was I? As such, it is a mass movement in which virtually everything the Bible foretells as a negative, the movement claims as a positive. And conversely, everything the Bible gives us as a positive is claimed to be a negative by movement adherents, New Agers. For example, the Bible characterizes heaven as man's ultimate pleasure. In the New Age movement, it is characterized as boring. In a movement which is obviously characterized by mass, even sought after possession, brackets, although its proponents see themselves in touch with benevolent spirits, close brackets, it is not surprising to see Luciferic images so adulated. Therefore, it is also logical that the movement's myths appear to be a mirror image backwards version of biblical accounts. The New Age myths are accompanied by accounts of a prospective cleansing action. Since this destructive action is too, both in terms of their mythology and in terms of what they proclaim as facts to precede their glorious new age, then we have a situation where Christians and all others concerned must take notice. New Agers are likely being conditioned to accept violence as a precursor to the New Age. Jesus also spoke of this coming period of time, but was warning of rather than advocating these actions. In Matthew 24:21 to 22, he said, quote, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. There should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." Not all Christian cult authorities have agreed with my analysis. She's writing it. Dr. Walter Martin has said, quote, "Don't worry about it, it's only occultism." My reply is that occultism is what the Bible warned us of as the eternal mystery Babylon, which had corrupted all nations. It is not mere occultism or mere idolatry. This is what, since time immemorial, has brought God's wrath down upon its practitioners, and a society professing God but continuing to tolerate it. And God's wrath was not so much poured out upon the idolatrous heathen as it was his corrupt body, who should have known better. No doubt Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, and the other prophets were faced with the spectre of false prophets of their day saying, "It's only occultism, go back to sleep, you're wrong, it's not in the church." Close quote. At any rate, the unicorn, as are many of the occult symbols, is an animal or a beast. Revelation 11:7 told us of the beast, quote, "The beast ascended out of the bottomless pit." The writer of the unicorn refers to the unicorn as representing the Shiva forces of destruction. The Satanic Bible of Antor Zandor LaVey mentions the name Shiva as a synonym for Lucifer or Satan. This is biblically consistent as well. The Apostle Paul emphatically said that idol worship equated devil worship. Corinthians 10:21. New Age / occult use of the rainbow. One of the most popular New Age books is called The Rainbow Bridge. The authors merely calling themselves two disciples explain the deep esoteric significance of the rainbow to New Age activists. Quote, the Rainbow Bridge, or Antahakarana as it has been called, is referred to in countless ways throughout the works of Dwal, Cool, Alice Bailey, as the Sutratma or the Sushumna, the latter referring to the lowest thread corresponding to the physical nerve, and the Sutratma corresponding to the completed bridge. I think this is all like Kundalini type stuff, like chakras. It is also the vertical arm of the three crosses of occult recognition, the cardinal, fixed, and mutable crosses. Dwal, Cool, has described the Antakarana as a line emerging from the earth and ending in the ocean, referring to the Sutratma, which, when the Antakarana is completed, blends all types of consciousness, spirit, and matter into one living whole, the ultimate reality. Close quotes. Furthermore, its use is considered absolutely necessary for the emergence of their New Age Christ. Quote, there is a desperate need at this time for disciples to make this first link of building the bridge to the soul and hierarchy, for it enables disciples to become channels for the transmission of energies so urgently needed by the Christ and his masters for the coming externalization of the planetary hierarchy. Emphasis in original. Remember, this Christ that they're referring to here is like the Maitreya, the new Christ, the coming Christ. Not like the Christian Christ, this kind of New Age Christ. Such aspiring students can be of vital use to the hierarchy from the very start of their work, which will enable them to take part in this final period of the changeover from the Piscean to the Aquarian age. The energies which can be invoked and evoked and transmitted into the etheric network of the planet will enable the Christ and his disciples to shorten the days of suffering threatening to overwhelm the planet. This bridge will be the present theme of all our efforts, and we urge you to build this bridge as the Brothers of Light and the Christ have done. Become a part of the bridge between heaven and earth, between the present age and the new, between that which you appear to be and the shining one. A reference to Lucifer. I believe she's put that in there. Which is your soul. Between that which the present age and the new, between that which you appear to be and the shining one, which is your soul. Only thus can the externalization of the hierarchy and the return of the Christ be possible. Emphasis added. She continues. Use of rainbow in other cultures. Among other non-Christian cultures, there has been heavy rainbow usage. This is also connected with psychic and prophetic activity. Some of the more prominent examples are the Australian Aborigines and the Native American cultures, particularly the Hopis. Here we will discuss the legend of the warrior of the rainbow among the Hopis. Considered by the Hopis to be an important prophecy, it has gained great fervour among the New Agers and their allies. The foregoing will discuss the deep significance of this legend to those in the New Age movement as well as among their allies in the United Nations. Nations. Native American spiritualities and the rainbow. Jesus told us to go into all the world and teach all men in his name. This has now been reinterpreted by all too many, both inside and outside the church. The modern aspartate meaning given his command is that we were to go into all the world and tell everybody they have been correct all along. Is the Great Spirit merely another incarnation of God, or is the same true of the Great Spirit that the Apostle Paul said of all pagan cultures? Those who worship idols worship devils. Native American spiritualities, in quotes, are an extremely popular component of the New Age movement. Two popular writers on this subject are William Willoyer and Vincent Brown. They look forward, as does top-ranking United Nations official Robert Mueller, to the fulfillment of the Hopi prophecies containing startling implications for the Christian community. Quote, the chiefs were told that the light that would bring the reawakening would come from the east and that it would come down from the true white brother. He would wear a red cloak or a red hat and would bring with him the sacred stone tablet, which the true white brother alone could read. The three would show the people of the earth a great new life plan that will lead to everlasting life. Those who are saved will share everything equally. A new religion, emphasis theirs, will probably be brought that helps all people to lead better lives and transforms the world. That is from Vincent Brown and William Willoyer, Warriors of the Rainbow, Strange and Prophetic Dreams of the Indian Peoples, 1962. She continues. Not stated by these authors was the fact that these same prophecies also call for a victory of those utilizing the swastika over those using the sign of the cross. More chilling still is their prophecy that those using the sign of the cross will be beheaded, and they will go on to build a new world under the sign of the swastika, which they consider to be an ancient, sacred Hopi Indian symbol. This is the crop circles. They are always going on about the Hopi Indians as well. Michael Green. Could it be that this is what the Apostle John saw in his Revelation vision when he stated, quote, I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. Close quote. And could it be that this Hopi prophesied great purification day be a mirror image of Jesus' warning to his disciples of the great tribulation to come upon the world as well? And could this true white brother and his two helpers be among those Jesus referred to when he said, quote, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Matthew 24, King James. And could it be that Lucifer, cognizant of the coming scenario all the time, has prepared many cultures, including the American Indians, to accept his true white brother? And could it be that this recrudescence of swastika under the leadership of the true white brother is what John saw that evoked his description of a population surprised at the emergence of a beast whose deadly wound was healed? Quote, The beast thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Revelations 13:3, King James. These are questions which should be of the deepest concern to all who seek the truth. That's the end of chapter 7. And yeah, strange. Michael Green, I used to know that guy. He wrote he wrote this book on unicorns. Um, he he was a member of the Centre for Crop Circle Studies, and he used to do a lot of lectures in London and in places like Glastonbury. Big 6 foot plus guy with white hair, looked portly, about must have been in his 60s when I knew him. Very, very posh. I think he went to Eton. He was always talking of Alice Bailey. He used to have his glasses, and they would be like this. Alice Bailey. So if this kind of nice guy. And yeah, I went round his house it was in Clapham Common, just off Clapham Common, because there was a lot of a schism in the Centre for the Crop Circle Studies, and they used to have like relatively big lectures, but he ended up having them in his house. I went round there at least once, I can remember, and there were Alice Bailey books, the blue Alice Bailey books, all these books, and you can see him if it's on YouTube. There was a program called Equinox in the 90s, and there was an Equinox from BBC Two, and it was about crop circles, and he's on that program. They got some people to make a hoax man-made crop circle, and then they got him along to test it, because he was one of the researchers that believed that they were aliens or spirits making them. And he walked into the crop circle that they'd hoaxed, and he had some dowsing rods, but the dowsing rods, he was holding them in biro pens to prove that he wasn't manipulating the dowsing rods. You can see it's working because they're biros. I'm not touching them. And it was like you could see he actually was. He was doing it himself. It might be on YouTube. And you can read all about that scene in a book called Round in Circles by Jim Schnabel, who a lot of people at the time, they thought he was working for the CIA. Maybe he was. Anyway, that's the end of chapter 7. And check out that Echo and the Bunnymen video. It's great. Bring on the dancing horses.